Welcome to Kathy's Eclectic Garden. I'm Kathy and I garden in Zone 6A in Northwest Ohio. Today, I'm standing in front of my goldenrod, but that's next week's video. This week, we are going to be talking about my water features. I had a viewer from a previous video that requested I do a video on my waterfalls, and I thought that was a pretty good idea, so here we are. First, we want to start with the most important part, which is safety. Now, we have a ground fault current interrupter switch on the side of our house. We had them put these in when we had the new siding put on. Now, a ground fault circuit interrupter is pretty much just what it says it is. It protects you from receiving a severe shock or electrocution. My research shows that this little device, which I'm going to show you in just a minute, will cut off the electrical power within milliseconds as a safety precaution. So this is our GFCI, or a lot of people just call them GFI. And we have a cover on it since it's outdoors, so the insides don't get wet. Here's the plug. It's a 3-prong plug. It has a test switch and it has a reset switch. And we've only had this trip, I think once, maybe twice, since we had it put in, and that was probably 5 years ago. So they work pretty well. This is the reset button here, and this is the test switch. And let's see, some of them have red and black switches, but for some reason ours just have, they're just the same color as the switches. You see the spiders get in there. And we use a 3-pronged heavy-duty outdoor extension cord. So that's what we use to hook up our fountains. I do want to mention, anytime you're putting in a piece of electrical equipment like this, you might want to check with your local authorities, your county engineer, or a local electrician to make sure you have the right type of connections to hook this up. I had my contractor that was doing my siding hook this up when we had our house resided, and they had an electrician working for them that knew how to do that. It does have a cover, so in the wintertime I unplug everything, and you can close this cover and it seals it up watertight. Now, when I plug my plug in, let me do that, and then you can press the cord. There's a little channel right here at the bottom. You can press that and close that. The water won't run down inside and get into the plug. Okay, let's go look at the fountain now. This is the plug to the pump in the fountain. So we're going to plug that for a minute so that we don't have the background noise. Okay, so safety tip number 1 was a GFCI ground fault circuit interrupter outlet. Safety tip number 2, always unplug your fountain before you do anything inside, because this is where the water reservoir is. You open this up, and this is your water reservoir, and inside that water reservoir is your pump. And I'm not going to pull that out because it fits in there really tight. It's just a standard fountain pump. We've replaced this one once. When we replaced it, we couldn't get one exactly like the one that was in it, but we got one that had the same specifications. Unfortunately, the hose fittings were different. So I had to go to my local hardware store and pick up some connector pieces. Maybe when I take my pump apart this fall, we'll just do a real brief video on the pumps themselves and how they go together and how they go into the fountain. Okay, so let's get her plugged back in, because I like to hear that noise that it makes. And it takes it a minute to get the water pumped back up into the top. Now, I leave the fountain itself sit out over winter. I don't take it in and out because it's too heavy. When I initially set this up in the spring, I fill it from that opening in the back that we just showed you. This is not a continuously fed fountain. You have to keep an eye on it, and when the water starts to get low, you need to refill it. Now how I do that is this bottom reservoir right down here has a hole in it that goes into the water reservoir below. And I just fill that with water until it fills up, and that way I know my pump's full. I really like my fountains. I've got 2 of them. They're just alike. I bought one. The other one was gifted to me by my brother, who had purchased the same fountain not knowing that I already had one. And he decided to get a different type of fountain, so he gave me his. So I've got one in my backyard. I've got one in the front next to my deck, and it's near my hummingbird feeders. One of the things I like about these fountains is the natural soothing waterfall sound that they make. And I think the birds also like that, because I've caught birds coming up and drinking at the fountains. They also will get down in the reservoirs and splash around taking a bath. I'm pretty sure feral cats drink from it and use it as their water source. So it's just a really nice added feature to your garden. It's soothing, it helps the animals and the birds and the insects, and it just adds diversity to your garden. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.